My 37th step-daughter 18th won't speak to me after I euthanized our family dog, and I'm not sure how to begin mending relationship. So I've had the pleasure of being a step-mum to my wonderful girl for 10 years now. We are a generally close family despite some normal ups and downs through the teen year. But things with my step-daughter, and I've been great for 2 years. Our relationship struggled a little early on when she felt like her dad was trying to replace her mum, which as a step-kid myself I understand, and I never intruded on her space or tried to parent her. It paid off, and we became very close. Until last week, we have had Buster, our golden retriever, since he was a puppy, and since my daughter was 9. He was 9 when he passed away. She, of course, lost her first pet when Buster died, which is hard. It's been hard on her dad, and I too. We understand. However, she seems to unfairly blame me for what happened, and she won't even look at me. I'm struggling with how to go about extending an olive branch. It's really painful for me to be blamed for Buster's death, and it hurts me to my core that she views me as this evil dog killer. I love Buster as much as everyone else. He was my silly puppy, best friend, and goodest boy. Buster was diagnosed with aggressive kidney cancer 2 years ago. We have gone above and beyond for treatment. Golden's prone to it. He reached a point where all treatment was failing, and continuing to keep him going would be selfish. He was in pain with no relief, couldn't control his bladder. He was ready. The night he passed, our daughter was at a friend's place. I had taken him to the emergency vid because he had collapsed and wouldn't get up. It was his time, and as I mentioned before, we knew that trying to treat would be cruel at this point. Our vet was ready. She knew. She told me to take my time, but she knew that I knew what the right call was. I called our daughter about 15 times and couldn't get a hold of her. Called her friend's mum. It was true, so she was none too pleased, and she wasn't there. So she had lied about where she was. Unfortunate, but in that moment I just wanted to find her so she could come to the clinic and see Buster before he went. We couldn't get a hold of her. We had to let Buster go with just her dad, and I with him. It was horrible. We felt so bad that she wasn't there. When she finally called us back in the morning, she was devastated, understandably, and long story short accused me of purposely putting him down when she was gone. I would never. At this point she refuses to acknowledge me and calls me that bitch to her dad. I'm at a loss. Advice. Too long. Don't red-stepped daughter accused me of purposely euthanizing her dog when she was out of the house. I would never do that. Struggling to extend an olive branch. She won't even acknowledge me. So sorry for your loss. While it's commendable for you to extend an olive branch, it is your husband that needs to set her straight. She was not where she said she'd be. She did not pick up the phone. She knew Buster was not well. Her dad was there as well, so it isn't as though you were the only one there. She is taking her grief out on you, and that is not okay. Your husband should have helped you with this and explained to her that you're not the bitch and that you love Buster as much as she did. If Buster was in pain, the decision was for the best. Talk to your husband and ask for his help in this matter. Otherwise, your daughter is 18 and she knows all this. It's just easier to deal with the grief if there's someone to blame. It's difficult to accept that life isn't fair. People are never prepared to deal with death. It's hard. If you can put your emotions on hold, she'll realize she's been unfair to you and will likely apologize and reconnect. Once she processes her grief a little bit, again, your husband should help with this and point out that you loved Buster too and are not the bitch she's really failing at his dad and husband duties here. But just give it time and let her deal with her grief. Emo. It took me literally spelling out the entire problem and really analyzing the situation for me to realize that this is the second major death she's dealt with since her mum passed away when she was 4 years old. I'm wondering if she never got the tools to handle grief because she was so young, and if this is rehashing some very painful feelings. I'm wondering if Buster is bringing up emotions about losing her mum. I feel like I've had an epiphany, and also like a really bad mum for not thinking those two events could relate sooner. Her mum died 4 years before I met her, so I don't have a huge amount of knowledge on how that was handled. I'm having a big conversation with my husband tonight.